Shawty wanna with the GTI. Yeah. Please don't hit the curb and scratch my tire.
Hello everybody, my name is Storm, and if you guys don't know who I am the lead admin for both the Too Fast Racing Discord and the forum. The purpose of these videos is kind of teach you guys how to build a drag car, how to tune it, and I will have some later series on teaching you guys how to tune other cars such as the NASCARs and off-road and stuff like that. So on our last video we were working on the Moonhawk. The Moonhawk, we did some engine work and put it to 665 foot-pounds of torque. For this video we're going to focus on tires and getting the right tire for the car. When I say the right tire for the car, because we're going for an 8-second build with no wheelie bars, we got to have the right traction. And there's several components that play into traction. The biggest thing is getting the car dialed in the right way. So we're going to use the live axle rear suspension because I don't have any other options. The biggest thing is we're going to go to the wheels. So right now we've got some bias ply tires on it. They will work, but they're not very good. So let's go ahead and we'll just put on some TA tires and see what that does, and then we will end up switching the wheels out. This is found under frame, under the rear suspension, and normally you'll find this under the rear differential or hubs, or sometimes this slot is actually separate. So we just put some TA tires on it. Our last times we were at the 12 mark, so let's go ahead and make a pass and see where we end up getting this car to. As you notice, we had a little bit of traction spin there. That's not what we want, obviously. And going to those tires really didn't do much for us. So let's go back here and let's switch out the wheels, get us a little bit of wider track, and get something a little bit better that's going to help us. Normally for the vanilla game, you're going to want a 15-inch wheel. What we were looking for is something called the Adler drag wheels. That right there is going to put us on drag tires. Drag tires are always going to be good because we're on what we call prep. We're going to go to the slicks. The slicks will grab us the most traction that we can. The other thing that we should do while we're here that will help with our traction is under the rear differential. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put a race limited slip differential in it. This right here is going to help us drastically. Now keep in mind this potentially could get us too much traction and cause us to wheelie, but that's what we want to avoid. So we did wheelie a little bit there. Car did want to twist, but we did leave the hole in an appropriate manner, and it dropped our 60 foot down to a 1.8. Took our quarter-mile time down to 11. We're getting close. So that right there makes all the difference in the world. So let's make another pass here. We're going to try to leave a little bit harder. There's the 11.6. Leaving a little bit harder definitely gives us better 60 foot and gives us a higher speed. One thing we're going to do is we're going to come back into our engine a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to go up one stage on the supercharger, and we'll see what that does for us. Again, we do not want the car wheeling, as we don't want to put bars on it for this build. took us into the 800 horsepower range, and we're creeping on the 11s. Of course, I had a bad launch there. The tires in themselves make all the difference in the world. Now we're going to go into a tab you guys haven't messed with yet on any of these videos, and we're going to look at tuning. There's a whole lot of sliders here that is not going to make sense for a lot of people. The biggest thing that we're looking at, because we worked on the engine and we added different parts, what we're going to do is, if you look on the right side, we're making 700 horsepower. What we're going to do is we're going to come up on RPM a little bit. We're going to come up to like 7,000. You have to be careful with doing stuff like this because potentially it can cause the motor to get hurt. We're going to go ahead and apply that. And that took us well over to the 1,000 mark. So this is probably going to be too much power. As you can see on the drag tires, you'll notice that our pressures drop drastically. Because these are drag tires, they run a lower pressure. For right now, we're just going to leave this alone. And see, we now have too much power. And the car is wanting to do what we call a torque twist. So now we're wheeling. So this is what we wanted to avoid doing. One thing we can do to prevent that is we just leave straight off gas, and that will help drastically. And just like that, we're down to the 9.7s. And we did have some coolant overheat there, which is the first time we've seen that. If you're having coolant overheating, the biggest thing you can do is go to the configuration, under the frame, and then under radiator support on this car, you go to the radiator. You'll want to put in like a drag performance radiator. That in itself, or even a high performance if you're on vanilla, the high performance, they have that as well. Let's put a high performance in it. That in itself should prevent us from overheating the car and getting us to the balance point. So all of this will come down to tires. Tires, as you can see here, makes all the difference in the world for getting the car down the strip. There we go. We've got a 9.6. So the 8s are not too far out. So once we do a little bit of work, we should be into our 8s pretty quick with our Project Moonhawk. So I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next video, and hopefully we hit the 8 mark tomorrow. Thanks.